A big overtime win, but their 4-game West Coast road trip has been postponed. We'll talk about our key takeaways from the win and how the postponement affects the Islanders. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Everybody, welcome to the Monday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Hope everybody had a great weekend and a very happy and healthy new year to everybody. Want to thank everybody for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Good weekend for the Islanders for the most part. The big overtime win New Year's Day afternoon, their first ever win on a New Year's Day in franchise history. So that was certainly a plus. But the 4-game Western swing that was supposed to start this week, all 4 games have been postponed. We'll have our key takeaways from the overtime win against the Oilers. Plus, we will discuss how this postponement affects the Islanders going forward. That, our Islanders' birthday of the day, will go back to a key player from the 70s for the Islanders, and a lot more coming up on this episode of the podcast. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like us to talk about on the show, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars NYR VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, and I will be live tweeting during every Islanders home and road game once that resumes again, although that's not going to be for more than a week, at least as of now. That is always subject to change, but always great to interact with fans during games and really any time. So please message me on Twitter, hit me up. It's all good. I always love to interact with listeners to the show and Islanders fans. 3-2 win for the Islanders on Saturday afternoon, a New Year's Day matinee at the UBS Arena. And a big one, because we've talked about the need for this team to string together wins, and that's what they finally seem to be doing. We'll really talk about 2 players in particular who I think played a major role in that victory. And the first one, I think is an obvious one. Let's talk about Noah Dobson. The game winner in OT assist, 5-shot goal in the game. Dobson. There was concern coming into that, and a lot of it was legitimate, especially when you saw how Dobson was playing in the first couple of weeks of this, that he was going to be asked, as of right now, the team's only. After sluggish, inconsistent start, you see Noah Dobson mature. Almost right before our eyes. And he did what over the last 6 games, and he is go-to guy. He's not there yet. He's consistently. But he has become that go that the Islanders know they did, and so, but surely we're seeing him more confident with the puck. We are seeing when to pinch and when to stay back, and we can contribute once. And that's lead with Anthony Beauvillier and it is imperative, it is vital for the Islanders that Dobson step this way. He's doing that. We see the results. The other player I want to mention, Kiefer Bellows. Bellows picking up another assist in the game against Edmonton, and that was great. He did another good job again with Bellows. Not afraid of the puck. 4 shots on goal for Kiefer Bellows. On a team that doesn't have enough guys who shoot the puck often, you need someone like Kiefer Bellows in the lineup. And no, he's not where the Islanders necessarily want him to be so far as doing things without the puck, but he's getting better. And when Wahlstrom comes back into the line, Wahlstrom and Bellows together give the Islanders 2 forwards who are not afraid to shoot the puck. And that is something that they really desperately need to have move forward, because this is a team that needs to shoot more. And look, Bellows is more of a power forward positionally. We know it takes power forwards a little bit longer to develop and to reach the spot they want to reach in their game because of the physicality necessary to play that position. But seeing Bellows do that is definitely a positive. And I think Trotz, when he returns, needs to figure out a way to get Bellows in the line now, and Bellows is doing as a roster spot. Meanwhile, Arnick, wanted to mention him briefly. Yes, he had another assist. It was a key assist. He really sort of sacrificed his kid. Zarnik is not a star player, going to put up 50, 60 points in a season. He's not the most physical guy, but here's the thing about Austin Zarnik. He knows you. He's going to give you everything he has. He's a permanent part of the Islanders lineup. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's off injured and COVID list. No. But is he a valuable person for this organization to have, and does he contribute when he's on the ice? Yes. And I watching what he does. Sorokin played okay, but Islanders defense holding shots on goal game. And one dangerous players on possibly the 2 most dangerous players in the league on goal. You're doing something right. And dangerous that's down and 5 goals just against 5 goals against the New York, but they need to, and the Islanders are getting done so. A good overall. The second period wasn't what the get a job done. And you have to be pleased to getting this team badly. Plus, the with episode podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Built Bar. It's the new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. And if yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it. Unlike other protein bars, they could be chalky, waxy, or taste like a chemical spill. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring. By like week 3, you might be thinking, this is just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Well, Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain just 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and yet 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Here's an idea for the new year. Go to all your secret treat stashes at home, in the pantry, in the office, in the car, wherever. Throw out all the sugary or calorie-filled treats and replace them with Built Bars. So when you're craving a snack or a treat, you can reach for something that's healthy and tastes incredible. Gotta do that. Gotta do it. And then there are so many flavors to choose from. Coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel, mint brownie, and many more. In fact, Built is always coming out with new limited time flavors, so check out Built.com to see what's new. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKed15 for 15% off at Built.com. So let's talk about what happened before the game for the New York Islanders. The coaching staff. There, Barry Trotz, not by what the Islanders tweeted out, were personal reasons that were non-COVID related. Whatever it is, we wish Trotz and hope that everything is long-term okay for him. Then assistant coach John Gruden and goalie coach Piero Greco, they are in protocol, so continues to go through. I'll tell you, it's difficult to many Islanders have not yet been in the protocol of, the two goalies in Varlamov and Sorokin. Like almost the other regular players have been at one point or another, which is absolutely coaches on the Bears in that game against Edmonton, yet they managed to get the job. And, again, to the coaches, we hope they have a and complete and speedy recovery. And now, with the 4 games postponed, they may not miss any more. But here's what the NHL decided to do. Wednesday's game for the Islanders in Vancouver, postponed. Saturday, January 8th in Edmonton, postponed. And the January 11th game at Calgary, postponed. And just for whatever else it was worth, the Tuesday game in Seattle, which was going to be the Islanders' first trip out to play the Kraken, that was postponed. Mostly because the other 3 games were postponed and it didn't make sense for the Islanders to fly out to Seattle and then just fly back. They wanted to coordinate it with the rest of the road trip. Now, none of the makeup dates for these games have been announced, so they are still to come. And here's what Bill Daly, the NHL's deputy commissioner, told The Athletic over the weekend. He said that he does not, quote, anticipate that there will be additional games scheduled prior to the next game that the Islanders now have on their schedule, and that is January 13th against the Devils. Now, is it possible that they could squeeze in a game here or there? They have to make up a road trip to Buffalo and Philadelphia, but as of right now, that does not seem to be the plan. And look, the Islanders are just starting to hit their stride. They are 5-2-4 in their last 11 games. They won consecutive games for the first time since around Election Day. It's positive developments, and yet now this team is going to be off for another dozen days before they are scheduled to resume play. And that assumes, keep in mind, that no other games will be postponed between now and then. So you're putting the Islanders in a situation where by the time they play the Devils at UBS Arena, they will have played 3 games in 25 days. That is basically another Olympic break without having an Olympic break. And it's a difficult situation. And here's the situation as far as the future schedule is concerned. And this is why an additional postponement really hurts the Islanders right now. Number one, you've got momentum going. This team is playing better hockey, as we mentioned, 2 in a row. Points in 9 of their last 11 games. They're starting to play well enough to put wins together, and that's what you needed from this team. But then here's the other thing. If the season stays at 82 games and runs through April 29th, which is now when it is supposed to go through, the Islanders have 106 days left, and they still have to play 54 games. That is a game every other day, a little bit worse than a game every other day. And it is going to be a situation. Well, here's what Barry Trotz said on Thursday about this. We could end up with weeks where we're playing 5 games in 7 nights. That takes its toll, but hopefully the schedule maker can find enough dates to spread it out. And if we do that, we'll be fine. So the Islanders now, they'll be practicing, they'll be resting. The momentum that they've been putting together is not going to be easy to put back after this break. And here's Anthony Beauvillier. I'm not going to lie, Beauvillier said. It's never easy. We want to get momentum going and have games and play, especially when you get points, but it is what it is. It happens. It's the world we live in now. It happens to other teams. We're going to make the most of our time off and get ready and get prepared and have a good rest of the season after that. Anders Lee, again, trying to make it into a positive. We can take this time to work on quite a few things and get some guys back in and healthy and really take on the rest of the year, hopefully without any interruptions. We look at it as the best way we can, take this time and hone in on our game. Here's some of the good points, though. Injured players. Injured be back. You know that Ryan Pulock will miss less time as a result of this postponement. He should be back in the lineup by the time the Islanders resume, barring any additional setbacks. Kyle Palmieri also, hopefully, will be available by the time the Islanders resume play. Here's the deal, though. Right now, the Islanders have 9 games to make up. They only know the date of one of them, and that is the Ranger game that was supposed to be played November 28th. That makeup date is March 17th, but you still have a road game in Philadelphia, home games against Montreal, Washington, Detroit, and then road games against Buffalo, Seattle, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary to make up. So there is still a lot to figure out, and we'll see what the schedule maker has in mind. And you know what? There's nothing much you could do about it. Given COVID, given everything we know about the situation right now, all 32 teams are in similar sets of circumstances. The Islanders are going to have to roll with it. All the other teams are going to have makeup games as well. And hopefully, again, the NHL can find that sweet spot where they are keeping players, coaches, and employees safe and still find a way to complete this schedule as close to on time as they can, play all 82 games, and move on from there. But it's going to be an interesting situation. Islanders have to roll with this. They really don't have a chance, but at least now this team is looking up the way they're playing. They're playing better, and there is hope for this Islanders team going forward. When we come back, we will discuss our Islanders birthday of the day and some more thoughts about all of these postponements and everything else happening to the Islanders and the league as a whole. All that and more still to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. We're going to go back to the beginnings of the franchise, a key Islander through the 70s. I'm talking about Jerry Hart. Hart turning 74 on New Year's Day, and we wish him a belated 74th birthday. And I'll tell you, Hart, not drafted. He was only 575 pounds. He was never afraid to be physical, to drop the gloves when he had, and to play a good, solid defensive game. Made his NHL debut with the Red Wings, one game in 1968-69, and came to the Islanders in 1972-73, the team's first year, and stayed with them 78-79 season. And after that, he went to the Quebec Nordique in the expansion draft and became a member of the Nordique, finished his career with the Saints. So he missed out on the Cup run with Islanders by just his best year. Was not known as an offensive player. He had 2 solid years, 75-76, 6 goals, 24 points, and 77-78, 2 goals, 25 points. He had a better year in 79-80 with Quebec, where he had a career high 26 points, but offense was never necessarily very hard thing. He was tough, he was tenacious, and was a very important player and the defense throughout their run in the 70s, especially 1975 till 1979, when the Islanders were perennial contenders. Jerry Hart was a big part of it. We're going to go back and look at his better offensive Islanders. January 1676 at the Nassau Coliseum. The Kansas City Scouts come to town. They are now the New Jersey Devils. Bill McKenzie was the goalie for T. Bill Smith between the pipes for the New York Islanders. Islanders getting on the board. Harris, who was the first pick ever in Islanders history, he scored midway through the period, his 17th from Burt Marshall, 10:43 the time of the goal. After one period, Islanders up 1-0. In the second period, Brian Trotz adds to the lead, his 16th. Billy Harris and our Islanders birthday of the day, Jerry Hart with the assists at 5:35. 31 seconds later, Clark Gillies makes it 3-0, his 17th. Jerry Hart and Jean Potvin with the assist, 2 assists in 31 seconds for Jerry Hart, our Islanders birthday of the day. The Scouts do get back into the game. Dennis Duperre, his first of the year, Jean-Guy Legacy and Gary Bergman at 11:55. That made it 3-1, but the Islanders power play goes to work late in the period. Wilf Paymont off for hooking for Kansas City. And Jude Drouin, his 13th, Ed Westfall and J.P. Parise, yes, Zach's dad, with the assists. 4-1 Islanders after 2. In the third, Islanders power play gets to work again. Dennis Patterson off for interference. Jude Drouin scores again. Dennis Potvin and the captain, Ed Westfall, with the assist at 6:05. And then 26 seconds later, our Islanders birthday of the day, Jerry Hart, his second of the year, from Brian Trotz. Islanders up 6-1. Jude Drouin is 15th from Parise and Westfall. Also on the power play, Ken Box for the Scouts for time of the goal, 14:53. And Jerry Hart, his second of the game, third of the season, from Andre St. Laurent at 15:26. Islanders, and the Islanders with 42 shots on goal in this game, just 22 Kansas City. So 21 saves for Bill Smith, but for Jerry Hart, 2 goals, 2 assists, a +3, scored on both of his shots. And basically you can add for you just have to add a strong 2-way game. Jude Drouin with the hat trick in this game as well. So a nice, easy win for the Islanders back on January 6th, 1976, the year of our nation's bicentennial, and a strong game for Jerry Hart. Gotta like what I see from the Islanders recently. They're starting to come back. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to find their groove. The whole key is just now not letting this week and a half off disrupt that momentum. Fingers crossed. I like this team. It's a veteran team. It's a well-coached team. I think if anybody can stay in the groove, it's a Barry Trotz coached team like the New York Islanders, and hopefully they will be able to do that. Once again, I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now I can listen Locked On Bets. It's your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets is hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. We will be back tomorrow. We will talk a little bit more about everybody's health and the COVID situation. We'll talk about what this delay is going to mean to this team. We have an email from a listener, and please, if you want to send us an email, we'll definitely be doing mailbag episodes this week. We've got a lot to discuss, so make sure you join us for that. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Again, a happy and a healthy new year. And of course, let's go Islanders.